Welcome back to a very special, it's too bad, if you couldn't tell, it's Halloween. And my favorite day of the year, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Because you get to dress like this and walk around the neighborhood.
Exactly. I don't wait for the night either. This is all day.
It's an all-day situation for you. Good for you.
Absolutely.
Great.
I'm Jason.
I'm Ted, and today we'll be talking about Troll 2. And Troll 2 is so good. It's the best movie we've reviewed.
Yeah.
It gets better every time.
does.
You find something new about this terrible film.
1990, so it's very in tune to that era. It's like a Saved by the Bell horror film, really is.
Without
the
Zach Morris.
kookiness, the wackiness,
Right.
the not too serious, even though it tries to be. There's serious issues, and you can't take it seriously because of how just so weird it is.
It really is. The tone of the film, the style of the film, like you said, it works with the 90s horror.
And not even just 90s horror. It's sort of misleading when you start out because it almost feels like Princess Bride. The story, the grandfather telling his grandson this fantasy story. Visually, it kind of looks like maybe Willow or Gremlins.
Right.
It fits really well visually with that era of filmmaking. The story takes a darker turn pretty instantly, and you see these goblins. Now let's get this out in the open. For those that don't know, Troll 2 has 0 trolls. Not a troll in the movie. This movie wasn't meant to be a sequel to Troll.
Right.
But Troll did well enough, I guess, that they wanted to put a sequel out. Didn't have one. This movie is about goblins. It creates a whole folklore about goblins, which I actually think is kind of cool.
That was nice.
I didn't know much about goblins.
Right.
I feel like the director and writer didn't either. They wanted to make their own mythology about it. The creatures themselves don't look great.
No, they're just masks.
But they have these guidelines they have to live by.
Right.
One of them being that they're vegetarian.
Yes.
Who'da thunk it?
Not me.
Right.
Not me. And so what's the fear then of goblins? If they're just vegetarians, let them eat their little vegetables. The problem being, they'll have you eat something that turns you into apparently a veggie product of yourself.
Yes.
And then they'll devour you.
You're one with the veggie world, I think it's one of the lines. You turn into a plant, and then they eat you because maybe it's just a little bit better, but it's like, maybe it's the meat you like.
Maybe that's the problem. If you tried a burger, you might just be fine.
Right.
And now you're just a weird little person. That's fine. I'm okay with that, Goblin.
Yeah.
But, I'm going to take it back to what you said at the beginning, the Princess Bride opening with the grandfather. I think it really does take a dark turn because the kid, like right away, the grandpa's dead.
What are you doing still up, Josh?
Grandpa Seth was telling me to stop.
The whole thing for Grandpa is he's telling this kid about the goblins, and then they go to the place where goblins are, and Grandpa's just telling the kid to stop. Grandpa, just appear to everyone.
Right.
This is an easy fix.
Right.
And I think that's what really bothers me about when you watch bad movies or just movies in general, and there's such an easy way out, and they don't take it. And it's like, it's literally sitting right there. Just do this thing, and there is no movie.
It could have stopped 6 or 7 times throughout the film before they leave for their trip. The father wants to live like farmers. Because that's like his dream in life.
But you feel so bad. You go, please, just do it for Dad.
Just let Dad go out at 6 in the morning and plow the field. Just let him do it. Nobody wants to do it.
No.
But this is his vacation. This is what he wants to do, is go work longer hours for his vacation.
go slave over longer. Yeah, okay.
They end up going to this little town called Nilbog, which is, if you have to write it out, goblin spelled backwards, it's an easy way to remember.
Absolutely.
They don't notice.
Well, how could you?
How could you notice?
In a town of what, 12 people, I think it was?
I think it's like 24, 26 people.
Perfect.
They house swap with a family, and they're supposed to go to their house, and they trade.
That's an exciting thing. I didn't know that existed, and I don't want to do it.
No.
After this movie.
I don't trust other people in my house when I'm not there.
In general.
Just in general.
You don't trust people.
But for like days on end, where they could just be rifling through your things.
That's not a good vacation for me. I'd be worried about what's happening
It's very
at home.
stressful.
Right. The dad in this movie pulls this movie together. He is in a bad movie.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be. He's trying his hardest to make this the best film, but I think halfway through he might have known. Maybe right off the bat, he's like, this is going to be terrible. But I'm going to give a performance that will last a lifetime. And he really, truly does.
There's actually a documentary called Best Worst Movie,
Yep.
which is the perfect title because that's what this movie is.
Really.
And it sort of follows him around the con circuit
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of reliving, trying to meet up with the cast and crew years and years later. And he's still so stoked about this part that you can't
know.
help but love him.
He's so great. Good for him.
I know.
He found something, and then, once this movie was panned, no one liked it. It kind of found a second life when people started seeing how bad it was.
Right.
And it's great that these movies can find a second life
Yeah.
somewhere, and that's nice to see. I, again, think it's great.
You got a little boy,
Right.
you got his older sister, who is just the quintessential, leg warmers and spandex, while she lifts weights.
It's a great-
Because every teen girl has a workout bench in her room.
When you watch Troll 2, again, it's not supposed to be funny.
Right.
They were really trying to make a horror film. And so if you take that into consideration, they did sprinkle in some comic relief, and the comic relief is the boyfriend and his boys.
Right. They're definitely not the cool kids.
No.
They want to be.
They want to be the cool
but
kid.
they're just kind of,
Right.
they're not the super nerd. They're not the jocks. They're
Right.
just somewhere in between. They can't,
Yeah,
they're just their
and
own
one of
thing.
them has a girlfriend.
Right.
So good for them.
But they kind of all feel like they all got this girlfriend.
Yeah,
they
that's
want to be
true.
involved in everything. And this is sort of the dad's problem with the situation. Normally, dads aren't like, you can't have him as a boyfriend because he keeps hanging out with his friends. Normal people have friends. His friends, different story.
She gives him the ultimatum. It's either, me or your boys.
Yeah.
He says, I'm going to obviously choose you, and I will be there in the morning, because apparently the dad is going to allow him to go on this farming vacation with him. And so the next scene is them in the car, and they waited, an hour and a half?
Hour extra, yeah.
That's a very calm dad at
Yeah,
that point.
sure
I
is.
would have left.
Yeah.
5 minutes, you're out. We're not waiting for him. And then he gets with his boys an RV. Yeah.
With all his boys, and they're going to show up, they think, to a warm welcome.
If the goal was to make us uncomfortable, they did a good job. The second we get to the town, you feel like nobody wants them there.
Right.
And they should just go home. And so as a person watching it, you feel like we shouldn't be here.
Right.
And so as more weird situations happen, there's like a cult, and they're trying to get them to eat the food, and they're all clapping, staring at them. It is a very weird scene. And I thought that they did that very well. They made me feel like I want this family to get out of there.
Definitely. I think the tone, the atmosphere of the tense situations with the townspeople, definitely done well. The goblins are just little people with latex masks. They don't have prosthetics. When they talk, there's maybe one of them that has
Yes.
a moving jaw, just for a close-up.
The rest are just
The rest, you can basically
expressionless.
see the eye holes
Yes.
on their masks. It's pretty terrible. So you don't have there's no tension there.
No.
There's also a random woman
Yes.
who is, I guess, in control of the goblins.
I'm glad we brought her up.
Yeah.
She's another person that just gives it a performance to die for. She is 100% in on this character. I feel like she's that high school theater teacher that finally got her break.
That's exactly
and,
what I
and she is going to give the performance of her lifetime.
And she's still performing to the back row. That
Absolutely.
she's not acting for film.
No.
And that's why it comes off hokey.
Yeah.
Because she's acting for stage. And I would watch Troll 2, the stage play, any day of the week, truthfully.
If that's in production somewhere,
You wouldn't
please
have
bring
to do
it.
anything. You could literally transplant the whole script to stage, and it
Yeah.
would probably play as a better play than a film. And we'd like the rights to that. One thing that I think they did pretty well is the music in this movie. It's not spooky in a horror film sense, but it's definitely right on the money for 80s films. Our theme song that plays before every episode, very similar to the title sequence in this movie. Kind of the synth rock thing going on. It's halfway to Saved by the Bell, halfway to Van Halen. It's somewhere in the middle. I just think it just makes you really, really nostalgic for watching movies as a kid if you grew up in the 80s or 90s. And I just like that feeling. I like starting
Yeah.
off a movie knowing this is going to be the feeling for this whole film.
Right.
And they don't stray from it. And
That's
what I love.
that's the
It
great
doesn't
part
fall
about it.
off.
Right.
This film was written in Italian and then
Okay.
translated to English for the actors.
Yes.
And so half of it doesn't translate. And that leaves you with a movie full of quotes.
Absolutely.
The way that the daughter treats her own boyfriend that she likes, it's just astonishing the things she says.
It's appalling. Like that, and then you go back to the boyfriend. He'll take it.
Yeah.
Because he might
got a
not get
girl.
another one.
Right.
This is as good as it might get for him.
You trying to turn me into a homo?
Wouldn't it be too hard? If my father discovers you here, he'd cut off your little nuts and eat them.
The dad's full of gems.
Oh yes.
So, kids, how's life?
The grandfather, who is dead, we don't know if he came back from heaven or hell, but he kind of acts like he's from the latter.
I think the leader of the goblins, the Reverend, I guess,
Yeah.
when he says,
I order you!
I
knows
honestly
something.
believe that he knows that
Yeah.
Grandpa should be there. And Grandpa climbed out of hell to tell his grandson about goblins.
And the grandpa just covers up. He's like, no,
yeah.
I'm not
and
from
this
hell.
good deed, I think the best part is this good deed does not get him into heaven.
No.
He
goes
has to
right
go
back.
back to hell. So this honestly is a great attempt at making a movie. It's not going to win any awards, but it is enjoyable from the first minute to the last.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. It's a film that I've watched numerous times. I make people watch it, and I will be back again and again.
I feel like we can agree that we're all here on this. You should see it.
Yep.
You should rewatch it and continue to watch it because it is a timeless tale.
And spread the love,
Please.
because 'tis the season. Happy Halloween.
Thank you for watching. Again, happy Halloween. Just so you guys know, our podcast on Troll 2 is out right now. So go ahead and check that out. I'm sure there'll be a link somewhere that you can click on. And subscribe to our podcast. And next week, we'll be back with a brand new video for you as well. So we hope to see you there.